So hello friends, we have already discussed the operating principle of three-phase induction motor. Let me give you a quick recap. So there I have discussed that when you apply this, when you apply three-phase alternating current supply to balance the stator winding, which are balanced in time and balanced in space, then automatically a rotating magnetic field is produced in air gap, right, between stator and rotor. So this small circle is representing rotor and this bigger circles are representing stator, right. Stator is stationary element, rotor is rotating element. Between stator and rotor there is air gap, right. So now let me tell you students that due to this presence of this air gap, the magnetizing current of induction motor is higher. It is 40% almost of the full load current, right. It is higher than transformer, right, because you know that the air gap reluctance is higher as compared to the air gap reluctance is higher as compared to the reluctance of this iron path, right. Flux in transformer, it flows through core of the iron, right. So reluctance of iron is less, that's why magnetizing current is less. It is 2% to 6% of the full load current. While due to the presence of air gap, due to the presence of this air gap, magnetizing current of induction motor is higher. It is 40% of the full load current, right. Operating principle of three-phase induction motor and transformer both are one and the same. That is principle of mutual induction, right. So a stator winding of three-phase induction motor is like the primary winding of the transformer, right. For simplicity I am drawing only a single phase 2 winding transformer, right, but the discussion is equally applicable to three-phase transformer, right. So here the primary winding of transformer is like stator winding of the stator winding of this three-phase induction motor, because you provide AC supply to stator winding, right. Rotor winding of three-phase induction motor is like a secondary winding of this transformer across which load is connected, right. Here also across this secondary winding, that is rotor, your mechanical load is connected, right. Mechanical load is connected, right. So this is your secondary winding, right. The difference is that the load on the three-phase induction motor is mechanical while the load on the transformer is electrical, right. Transformer is a static device which simply transforms the electrical energy from one circuit to another circuit at a constant frequency through mutual coupling, right. Here in three-phase induction motor, this is energy conversion device. It converts the electrical energy at input to mechanical energy, right. So this is a rotating electrical machine. Another difference is that here you will find friction and windage loss because it's a rotating machine, but transformer you will not find this friction and windage loss because transformer is a static device only, right. So these are the sum of the differences between transformer and three-phase induction motor, right. But the operating principle is definitely same for both, right. By the principle of mutual induction, the induced EMF is developed in the rotor winding. By the principle of mutual induction, the induced EMF is developed in this secondary winding, right, of the transformer. So now our aim is to draw the equivalent circuit, to derive the equivalent circuit for three-phase induction motor, right. So you understand. So now let me give you one more point, that three-phase induction motor is also called as dynamic transformer, right. It is a dynamic transformer. Theoretically you can call this, right. Operating principle is anyways the same, that's why you can call this three-phase induction motor as a dynamic transformer, right. Now we will discuss the equivalent circuit of three-phase induction motor, right. So one more thing, let me discuss that winding basically refers to inductor. Winding means inductor, and when I say inductor, its electrical representation will be like this, right? Due to inductance, you will get inductive reactance XL, and with this you will have some small resistance, right? Resistance is very small, or you can call this as a residue resistance, right? You know that no inductor is pure inductor. In electrical technology you might have studied this. So some small resistance is also there of the winding, right? XL is the inductive reactance. XL is equal to 2 pi FL, right? So we will represent the windings of a stator and rotor by this equivalent, electrical equivalent, by R in series with XL, right? Now with this information we will drive our equivalent circuit of three-phase induction motor, right? So first let me go for stator equivalent circuit. Phi is the flux per pole. It is always taking per pole. In DC machines also we are taking flux to be per pole, right? N1 is the stator turns per phase, N2 is the rotor turns per phase, F is the supply frequency to stator, E1 is the induced EMF equation of three-phase induction motor. It is like transformer. In transformer also you get this 4.445 FN. Kw1 is a new term that has been introduced now in three-phase induction motor, because you know three-phase winding in induction motor, they are balanced in space, right? So accordingly there will be 120-degree phase displacement. I have already discussed all these things. Please watch earlier videos of operating principles of three-phase induction motor, right? So that's why you will get a winding factor Kw1 and Kw2. Kw1 for primary stator winding and Kw2 is for secondary rotor winding. Primary winding means that winding across which you are applying the source, right? Supply source, right? So when you take ratio, you will get N1 Kw1 divided by N2 Kw2. Let me give this another representation, Ne1 by Ne2, where Ne1 is the effective stator turns per phase and Ne2 is the rotor turns per phase. So this ratio, it is called as turn ratio of three-phase induction motor, like transformer, right? So this ratio Ne1 by Ne2 is a turn ratio which is represented by A. Let me represent it by A. It is a turn ratio of three-phase induction motor. So this R1 and X1, this is the primary winding resistance of a stator, which is very small, and X1 is the stator winding reactance, right? V1 is the applied voltage to stator winding. Accordingly current will flow I1, right? This is the representation of core loss, right? RC represent the core loss and IC is the core loss current. IM is the magnetizing current and XM is the magnetizing reactance. JXM is the magnetizing reactance. So you will write JXM in electrical terms, right? So IM is the magnetizing current, right? XM is the magnetizing reactance, which is the representation of magnetization of the rotor core, right? So now RC and RC is a core loss resistance, right? Now let us discuss the rotor equivalent circuit. So here this, likewise like your stator, this is the rotor winding electrical equivalent circuit. R2 is the rotor winding resistance, X2 is the rotor winding reactance, SE2 is the rotor induced EMF, right? So here when the rotor will be in motion, then definitely there will be difference in speed of rotating magnetic field and the rotor. So higher this difference in speed, that means higher the relative motion, the higher will be the induced EMF developed, because the higher will be the flux cutting to rotor conductor, right? And that's why we will show this rotor voltage or rotor induced EMF by S into E2. You will multiply this E2 by slip S, right? Similarly, X2 is equal to X as 2 pi FL, right? So here also you will write S, right? Multiply by S. R2 is the rotor winding resistance, is a winding parameter. It will remain unaffected from the slip, right? We have already discussed this in torque slip characteristics. These parameters, right? When I was deriving the torque slip characteristic, we have already discussed these things. Now, if you divide it by S here and here, then this will be E2 and here it will be J times of X2. I2 is the rotor current, and R2 when you divide by S, it will become R2 by S. Now further, in order to make the equivalent circuit, refer to the stator side, you will have to refer these rotor side quantities, right? Alright, so write dash, E2 dash, X2 dash, R2 dash, right? It is just like, suppose, understand this, why we refer this secondary side quantity to the primary side. Suppose I say that in my class I am teaching two sections, mechanical and electrical, right? And I want to teach all the student of electrical and mechanical simultaneously. Then I will ask mechanical student to sit with the electrical student, right? So that means I will have to refer mechanical students to the electrical class, right? So when all the student of mechanical, they will be referred to the electrical class, how will I say? Suppose there is a student in mechanical, namely Anuj, then how will I say that mechanical branch student has been shifted to electrical class. Similarly, if there is a student namely Virat, then I will say that Virat of mechanical branch has been referred to electrical class, right? So similarly, all the rotor side quantity, if you want to bring them on a stator side, then you have to write these, you have to refer these rotor sides or basically secondary side quantity to primary side. That means you will write X2 dash, E2 dash and R2 dash. Now what is R2 dash? What is E2 dash? E2 dash is rotor EMF referred to stator. That means you will multiply this by A, turn ratio A into E2. R2 dash is rotor resistance referred to stator side. That means you will multiply by A square, right? All the ohmic values will be referred to stator side, that is primary, by multiplication of A square, right? A square and not A, right? We have already discussed this in transformer, right? So just like the way in transformer we are doing in three-phase induction motor, right? X2 dash is rotor reactance referred to stator, A square multiplied by A square into X2. Similarly, E2 dash is a rotor EMF referred to stator, AE2, right? So now see here, this is the corresponding rotor equivalent circuit. So now when a rotor, when the load is variable, that means rotor speed is changing, right? When the load is variable, mechanical load is variable on motor, then rotor speed NR is variable, it is changing. That means slip is changing, because what is slip? Slip is NS minus NR by NS. If the NR is changing, slip is also changing. Slip is changing, that means R2 dash by S, this resistance will also be changing. So that's why I am showing it by this arrow sign. This arrow sign is representing that this quantity is of changing nature, right? Now R2 dash by S is variable, right? Now let me further break this R2 dash by S into two components, right? R2 dash by S can be broken into two parts, right? See here, this R2 dash you can write R2 dash by S, you can write it R2 dash plus R2 dash by R2 dash into 1 by S minus 1. Can you write this? Yes, you can easily write it. It's simply mathematical manipulation, right? Intentionally we have done this because this R2 dash will now represent the rotor copper loss in rotor resistance R2 dash, right? What is rotor copper loss? It is I2 dash square into R2 dash, right? Now what is this R2 dash 1 by S minus 1, or basically R2 dash by S into 1 minus S? This is representing mechanical load. That's the simulation of mechanical load. So what is the mechanical load equivalent resistance of 3-phase induction motor? It is R2 dash by S into 1 minus S, right? Now see here, so when you draw this impedance triangle, on this horizontal axis you will write resistance, on this perpendicular you will write x2 dash reactance part, then this is the impedance part. So impedance is under root r square plus s square, so this square plus this square will be the rotor winding impedance, right? So power input to rotor is nothing but air gap power, because power first have to cross this air gap to reach to the rotor. So rotor input power is nothing but air gap power. Now Pg is representing power input to rotor. It is E2 dash I2 dash cos phi 2. Simply like P is equal to VI cos phi, you have written this E2 dash I2 dash cos theta 2, right? E2 dash rotor winding voltage, I2 dash rotor winding current, and this cos theta 2 is rotor winding power factor, right?